You're listening to The View from Up Here, an equipping podcast by Viewpoint Leadership and Development. Our vision is to cultivate a change in the way the world views leadership and development, and our mission is to foster better leaders through a modern approach while developing individuals into their true selves. My name's Brad Walbridge, your host for our time together, and joining me in our conversations is our president and founder, Josh Trout, and our COO, Joel Archeri.
Welcome to the View from Up Here podcast. My name is Joel. I am the COO of Viewpoint Leadership and Development. I'm joined by our founder, Josh Trout, and our special guest today, Tyler Thompson, who is two-time Super Bowl champ. I'm kidding, not Super Bowl champion. It's the same thing. NCAA championship. He was at Clemson when he won. I still wish you had worn your rings because I really wanted you to just be doing this.
We're hoping he's going to sit like this the whole time.
A quick cut to it, and just the rings. Or honestly, we just have one angle of just the rings on the table. That would just be it. Yeah. Constantly reminding us of your pedigree. Thank you so much for being here, bro.
Yeah, of course, guys. Thank y'all so much for having me. Yeah.
So you and I have some history because co-owning CrossFit OSC, we've partnered with you guys before. You've done a couple athletes festivals where you've given back to charity, specifically Shriners Children's Hospital, which is fantastic, which I think is something that
great cause.
Not only says a lot about you, because I know that's kind of like your passion project, but also says a lot about your company, right, that you're a part of in Supreme Nutrition. So I know you're not the founder or owner of Supreme Nutrition, but I'd love to know how you kind of got into this place as being one of the main driving forces of Supreme Nutrition from championship team at Clemson. So walk us through that.
Yeah, I mean, do you want me to start from the transition from Clemson to here?
Yeah, everything.
So, I mean, obviously I graduated from Clemson in 2019. And it's kind of for anyone that's played college sports, it's kind of a weird time when you're going from college sports or something like that, or athletics, into the real world. It's very much like your whole life's structured. You know exactly what you're doing every single day. And then it's like, all right, you're set free. You have so many different paths to go along with. So, I'm very fortunate that within my first year coming out of college, I was working another job, and I just so happened to meet Dave and Luke, who you've met. And they are the original founders. They started in Athens, Georgia. And I met them at the grand opening of Greenville. And I talked, it's funny, I came in as a customer actually, and I ended up talking with one of the founders, David. I talked to him for probably over an hour in the store, just chatting and hanging out. And he mentioned me that they were looking for someone to take on this role, to step in and kind of like move up really quickly and kind of like become like a bigger role in the company. It's funny, I went back to my other job, and I think within 2 hours at my other job after leaving there, I texted him. I was like, hey, I'm interested in it. Can we talk? Let's talk. I'll be over there today if I need to. So I ended up coming in, and I think I was hired the next day, which is pretty insane. As far as building into this role in Greenville, the biggest thing that stood out to me about Supreme was the structure that they had with Luke and Dave is very similar to a college football program. And kind of your success is based on how much work you put into it. So really stepping into, I knew that I had an opportunity to grow into a bigger role, and I just, the term, put your foot on the gas. That's pretty much what I did, and I just tried to work as hard as possible, and thankfully, it was rewarded through Dave and Luke, and now I've just kind of grown and continue molding and taking on more responsibilities and grown in this position that I'm in now.
That's so cool. It's interesting hearing you talk too, because your situation, essentially, you were being recruited by Dave and Luke for this company, and then you go back to your old job. And what I think was really awesome that you said, and I think there are a lot of people that are probably listening and watching that want to be able to empathize with the fact of someone going, hey, I'd love for you to be here because I want you to move up, and I want you to grow, and I want you to get more responsibility.
What a motivator.
Right.
From the very beginning.
Right. Not I think you'd be a good fit.
Yeah.
No, actually, we need someone who can take on a lot, grow quickly, move up quickly, make this successful quickly, and we think that'd be you. That's way different to someone. So then you could, I think it gave you the confidence to go back to your job and go, well, I know that this is more of a sure bet than just, hey, I think you're a good fit. Yeah. So you knew your growth potential, and I think it says a lot about your guys' company as the leadership. Like you said, you guys believe in that person, and you want them to succeed. And I've even seen it every time you guys have done the Athletes Fest at OSC. I see all the people that work for Supreme Nutrition. I'm like, these guys are actually really cool, and they all want to get better, and they seem like they're friends, but they also push each other to get better and not settle, which I think is cool. But so that's Dave and Luke. Was there someone, though, in your life? I mean, you could always say Dabo, but was there someone in your life that really shaped who you are? I mean, you were part of a championship football team in NCAA. Like, obviously, the coach probably shaped you. But other than Dabo, was there someone else that really shaped you into who you are, or why you care so much about leadership?
I mean, 100%. And there's, it's hard to say that there's one person. Yeah. Because, it's hard for one person to have an impact on every aspect of your life. But there are a couple of people, and two of them are at Clemson. One of them being Reggie Pleasant, who was our team chaplain. I guess cool. He's called a life coach now. But he kind of had a big impact because, once again, looking at college sports and everything, there's so much more than just the Saturdays. Right. The Saturdays, and Coach Sweeney even said all the time, it's like, hey, like we put in, 365 days of work for a guaranteed 12 days a year.
Wow. Yeah, that's true.
Like that's when you really break it down, that's really what we're doing. And it almost sounds like kind of psychotic when you think about it that way.
That's true. I gave an entire year for 12 days.
Yeah. And that's of course those 12 days are worth it. And obviously, from my experience, it was totally worth it in the end. But, there's a lot that goes into it, and it takes a mental toll. You go through a lot of adversity. And so really, Reggie Pleasant for me was kind of like my time to talk with him, and his impact on me was pretty much everything outside of football. Because, when you're there, your whole life is football. You wake up, you're at morning workouts. You go to class, you come back, you're in meetings. You're back at practice, and it's repetitive. You eat dinner at the football facility. So it's like it's pretty much year-round, 24/7 football. So he was kind of like my way of tapping into that outside source, everything outside of football. And he did have a big impact on me because no matter who you are, you're going to go through adversity in the sport. Absolutely. And so he was always that guy that I could go to, talk to about any problems I was having, and he could give me an honest answer. An unbiased opinion.
That's good.
Because a lot of times, a lot of people, it's unintentionally biased, if that makes sense. So he was kind of like my unbiased opinion, someone I could talk to about anything like that. And then the other one was one of my position coaches. Just a little backstory going, I went in as a receiver. After my first 2 years, I went to a running back.
So you went from nice and lean muscle to all legs.
Pretty much,
Cool.
Yeah. So if anyone, please don't Google me, but Luke and them like to pull up the picture of me as a running back. It was quite a hefty.
Keep talking. No. I'm gonna do this now. No, keep talking.
But yeah, I mean, going from receiver to running back, it's a tough transition. I'm changing. I'm learning something completely new, and one of the big impacts I had was, and I was so thankful to have Coach Elliott, Tony Elliott, who's now at Virginia as the head coach. Yeah. He is my coach, and he kind of like knew that what I was stepping into was a foreign place, and coming in, I'm surrounded in a room by guys like Tavian Feaster, who was 5-star Mr. Football coming out of high school, Adam Choice, who was like a 4 or 5-star recruit out of Georgia, Travis Etienne.
I'm looking for your picture. I can't find it.
Yeah, he turned out to be pretty good.
Did you delete your picture offline? I couldn't find it.
No, I wouldn't do that.
Keep going.
I'll show you later. But yeah, I'm surrounded by these guys in this room, and it's tough. There's a lot of adversity that comes with that, and Coach Elliott was one of those guys that was no matter what, he wasn't putting on a face. He was pretty open and honest with us, and having him as a guy that I could trust, that I knew, once again, that unbiased opinion about everything. Yeah. Anytime I needed him, I could hit him up a text and he'd meet with me, in 30 minutes, just one-on-one, whatever I needed. So those are kind of like two of the guys that really helped me through football and kind of realized that there's more to life than football, pretty much. And that's the biggest impact that both of them had on me.
That's great.
It was pretty much saying, like, your success in life isn't necessarily going to be the sport that you've been playing your whole life.
Right.
And it's I don't think I'd be where I'm at right now without those guys kind of like being that driving force of like, hey, like there's more to life than football.
It's so hard not to make that your identity.
Yeah.
Right. And it sounds like that's what they were doing, is that yes, you're a football player, but it's not truly your identity.
Yeah.
Which is good for people that are maybe not able to go to that next level. Yeah. Right. To be able to transition into what you're doing now. So that's awesome.
100%.
Yeah. We talk a lot about, since we've been doing the podcast, a lot about sports, right? And how sports is just directly connected.
Well, yeah. I think we've had
leadership.
many guests on that have said the best leaders that they've trained were either athletes or servicemen and women.
Yeah, absolutely. So can you kind of talk a bit more about that? You kind of hit on a little bit, but where do you see the direct connection of playing on a team in sports, and how does that mold you to be a leader, a successful leader?
Yeah, 100%. And yeah, I mean, you kind of touched on it. It's like, usually are the best candidates, and I've heard this from tons of people in business, are people with, athletic background, played sports, or were in, the military or something like that. And I know I've talked to you about this previously, is like, it's weird. My dad played college football, and he was an Army Ranger, so he had the best.
So he's the best leader of all time.
Yeah.
I guess.
He's not a tough guy by any means.
No.
But no, he was. I mean, for sure, he went through both of it. And,
Wow.
And
that's impressive.
And so, like, when you look at it, and he always told me the comparison is very similar as far as the structure. Yeah. What you do, completely different, but the structure of it is completely the same. And when you look at it, it's like, yes, there usually are, like, some of the best candidates coming from those backgrounds. There's also the opposite spectrum.
Oh, yeah.
And it really depends on the person, how they take the tools that they're given, how they take the experiences that they have, and how they utilize that afterwards. And, I'll be completely honest, my first year or so after college, really my first year, I didn't utilize those tools, because everyone, when they get out of it, they're kind of just like, they're set free, and they're kind of just like, oh man, like I just want to take a break. I can sleep in. I can do this and that. It's like, wow,
structure,
this is so
routine.
free.
Why?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. It's like, why am I waking up at 5 if I don't have to?
Right.
That's fair.
We're eating grilled chicken and broccoli every meal if I don't have to. But no, it's there's two different spectrums. When you look at it, athletes and servicemen and everything, if you can tap into the root of it, what you truly learn when you're there, and not just focus on, the structure, I got to do this, I got to do this. It's really just being able to tap into that competitive edge, that whole mindset that you develop when you're actually there, of a win at all cost mentality, if that makes sense. And that's the biggest thing, is like, a lot of people, and like I was just saying, like, you can have both spectrums. They can be amazing, they can be not so great.
Oh, yeah.
And it really just depends on the person, how they take what they learn there and how they apply it, if that makes sense.
Very good point.
Yeah.
Well, speaking of amazing people, friend of the show, Rich Muncaster, thank you so much for these beautiful tumblers. And what's inside? Synergy Coffee Catering any of your coffee needs. So hit them up. Look them up. Actually, do you have something in your mug right now?
I do, yes.
We should both take a sip.
Yeah, let's do it. It is good stuff.
It is.
Feel left out.
We got to get this guy some coffee.
I don't have the lung capacity for that long side. No, so one of the cool things about, but also hard part about sports, right, is, like you said, it's up and down, right? Yeah. 1 year, whether it's Clemson or you can even look at, so I'm a fan of the NBA. You could look at last year, the Warriors won the title. This year, so, it just happens.
Go Nuggets.
Okay, get out of here. Don't start now. I'm a Jimmy Buckets fan. So my question for you though is right. So you started at Clemson on the team freshman year. Mm-hmm. Okay. So that year was what year was that for you?
That'd be 2015.
Right. And then you won the title.
We won the title in 2016.
Good.
So
my
freshman year, we lost.
So then your second year you win.
Second year we win.
Third year
we lost in
Fourth
the playoffs. Fourth year we won.
Right.
Wow.
So the cool thing to me is,
what
and
an
the
experience.
question, what a question I want to ask you is, what did you learn in those years when you didn't win? And like what has stuck with you during those years? Is there anything that you learned during those years and that stuck with you more than the victory seasons?
Yeah, honestly, one thing, and I was thinking about it the other day because I was talking to my team, and I actually applied something that I did learn. In 2015, my freshman year there was, I think we were ranked 15th, 14th, something like that. I mean, we're coming off of, we won the Russell Athletic Bowl or something like that. So going into the season, I think we were picked to maybe play in the ACC championship, whatever it is. And anyone that remembers like 2015, it was just like, for us being on the team, it almost just felt like, oh, we can't lose. Like we're just expected to win every single game. Our team, we're loaded with talent. We go on win the SEC championship. We go to, the playoffs. We beat Oklahoma by like 20-something points.
Remember that.
Baker Mayfield and them.
Yep.
And it's like we went into the Alabama game, and I don't think a single person in the country picked us to win that game.
Literally.
And, I mean, we're missing like 3 of our starting receivers. Like we're hurting. Anyone that watches it, we had a legit shot to win it. We should have won it. A little bit of mistakes, but going into the next season, something that Coach Sweeney kind of implemented, and something that's resonated with me going into business and stuff. When we lost, we really had this whole identity of like, going into Alabama, it's like everyone's like doubting us, and it's like, it's we were kind of like written off. It's like, I don't know if we can do it, like yada yada yada. And going into the next season, we created this system of playing a faceless opponent. And what that means is like in our facility, we used to have the schedule on the walls when you walk down the stairway, and it'd have like who we're playing and their logo and stuff. By the end of that first season, every single one had a tiger paw on it. And so it was, we didn't have an opponent. So every week it was us versus us. That's cool mentality. And that's one of the biggest things I learned, like through failure and stuff. Usually, there's tons of factors that lead to failure, but a lot of times what happens is we almost write ourselves off because we're looking at who we're facing. If that makes sense, rather than just focusing on yourself and whatever happens. And that's usually what happens is we look at so many outside factors and we dictate how we play or how we work, everything like that based on, who our opponent is, because we almost play to the opponent, if that makes sense. And so in business, I was, talking to the team like that the other day, when we started and I was at Supreme, going into 2022, we set out the goals for 2022 for each location and stuff like that. And I'll kind of call them out a little bit, but Dave and Luke had the other location performing better in Greenville. There's a lot of unknown we didn't know, and that story had already been established a little bit.
Sure.
And so when I talked to the team, I was pretty much like, it doesn't matter.
We've been written up
what they're doing. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. We're just focused on Greenville, doing the best we can. And that's how I've kind of like done it ever since. And that's one of the biggest lessons coming off of that loss that year.
Wow.
And that's one of the biggest lessons that's pretty much driving from a business standpoint right now.
That's amazing. Yeah.
So, all right, elephant in the room. Right. I used to work at GNC. A lot of people look at people who have supplement stores and they're like, "What's up, bro? What you want? You want some trend? Right? You want to get jacked?"
Because that's how you used to actually talk when you worked there. Is what you're
Actually,
saying.
no, yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
I did. Although there is a funny story about a lady that actually had this stereotypical smoker's accent.
I remember you telling me that
You
story.
gotta need vitamin D oil. And I was like, this isn't real. You're not a real person. It just needs some vitamin D oil. And I was like, it's not real. Interesting people you would run into at supplement stores, But the question, though, is, okay, how is Supreme Nutrition not... Like, let's just say you're not another store that's going to give you HGH, stuff like that. Like, just, hey, here you go. You want to get big? Here's a steroid, right? Here's all this stuff. How are you not just different than that in just the fact that you don't do that? But, like, what sets you sets you apart in a world? I mean, if you don't know the history of GNC used to be huge. Now it's going down. I feel like you guys are coming up, and I think you're going to take that spot. What makes you different than all the other supplement stores? You don't have to. You're not throwing shade, but what makes you guys different?
Yeah. The truth
Don't
is
worry,
the
I'm
truth.
letting you know.
Yeah.
He's not throwing shade. All right, calm down, everyone.
First of all, I don't know what stores you're going to. They're just giving out steroids. That's interesting.
They weren't giving them out.
You're gonna learn really quickly. You got to watch what you
There
do.
was
with
a store next to me down the road in GNC
all right.
where people were like, "Well, I'm going to go get."
Did you notice he said
fine.
next to GNC?
Yeah.
So what's
Not
actually
GNC.
GNC?
No, we weren't
Okay.
allowed.
Is that like a side business you have?
Not me. Behind the GNC. No,
Okay.
keep
Not
going.
personal experience by any means.
Well, first off, we're different because we don't do that.
There you go. There you go. There you go.
No, so like our business model is very, very unique, and just kind of looking at it. So basically, everything we do, whenever you're looking at fitness, for us, we sat down and we talked about, how do we want to help people, if that makes sense, and you're stereotypical when you go in, someone gets, they give them, they say, oh, like you're losing weight. It's like, here's a fat burner or something like that. It's like, well, that doesn't necessarily mean that's going to work for everyone.
Right.
Because there's so many other factors that play into
So much
it.
science behind it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. And there's so many factors. And for us, it's like, we're more result driven. And when we say result driven, like we want our clients to come in and see results. So we go off of a factor of nutrition, exercise, recovery, supplementation in that order.
Whoa, that's almost holistic. Wow, not symptom driven. Keep going. I love it.
So like whenever someone comes in, we approach it very differently. And if you come into the store, I think the last thing we're going to talk about is supplementation, if it applies.
Right. Don't you guys give a free body scan every time we
do.
walk in?
We do.
Which that's not cheap. Just want to let everyone know. Body scans are cheap.
They aren't. So I mean, for us, it's like we make payments and the scan is completely free. So it's an in-body scan. It's completely free to use anytime we want to use it. Our approach to it, the reason we do that is people want to see results.
Yeah,
Sure.
And what usually happens is someone's working out, they just started working out, they're dieting, they're not seeing the weight on the scale drop. What's their result? They're like, oh, it's not working, and they quit. With this, what it does is it's able to graph how much muscle you're building, how much body fat you're burning, and so you can actually see the difference. See, the weight's not changing, but you are making composition changes. Yeah. So it's a way for people to be able to track their progress. Yeah. For us, we can actually use that, and we actually go through and we can write down and go into nutrition. So we actually do talk about diet completely for free in the store, and we can actually write out custom meal plans depending on whatever it is you're working towards.
That's impressive.
That makes
So
sense.
free body scan to see where you're at, and the free meal plan. Yeah. How long is the meal plan?
Like written out?
Yeah, like how many weeks or...
So kind of how we do it, we basically calculate your macronutrients, so your proteins, carbs, and fats, and your caloric intake. And then we actually graph out, because one of the biggest things we wanted to avoid is whenever you're given a meal plan, you're not going to want to eat the same thing every day, right? Yeah. So for us, we structure what best suits you. Some people are 3 meals a day and a snack. Some people it's like, hey, 2 meals, 2 snacks, something like that. So we figure out what best suits you. Yeah. And we say these are kind of like the increments we have to hit. This is how much protein we need to hit with each meal, stuff like that. And then we structure it. Then we have another sheet that actually has all the food options with the actual macros written down already. So then we can actually go in and kind of fill in what a typical day would look like. And then that's actually, all of that is yours to keep, and you actually get a folder with all of your stuff written in it.
That's impressive.
No charge or anything.
No charge.
That's impressive.
Why? So here's the question. why, and we're going to keep talking about what makes you guys different. Why do you guys do that free of charge?
I mean, it kind of brings me back to my first point. We're more result driven. For us, we are a retail store. We do sell supplementation, and for us, it for our recommendations, when it holds our employees to a standard. Also, it's like, hey, we're only going to recommend what we truly believe is going to best suit that person towards their goal.
Yeah,
and now that's just going to add fuel to the fire.
Yeah.
So it's like. Them taking a certain supplement isn't necessarily going to get them results.
Right.
But if you tie in all the other factors, what's your nutrition like, how are
Compounding
you
it, yeah.
recovering,
Yeah.
everything like that. So
I think that excites us
Yeah.
because Viewpoint, we're like that, right?
Right.
We're not. We've decided. See, we're putting the correlation in. It goes a long way, right? So our goal is that we're not just going to coach somebody, and we're not going to just give them a book on how to do the best 9 things to be a leader.
Yeah.
But it's going to be, we're going to not even talk about leadership for quite a while. We're going to talk about who you are. We got to figure out who you are at the core and grow from that. And that's what you're doing there, right? And I think that's where people really flourish, because how many companies are out there, whether in nutrition or in the leadership world, you're going to make someone either fail,
right? Because they're just the symptom. They're giving you the surface solution that gives you kind of a little bit of results, but not long term.
Right.
Yeah. This might be a little bit of a hot take. But I feel as if, and I think you might support this, I feel as if the biggest danger to leaders and in the growth of leaders in our corporate culture, or even just in American culture, is unhealthy body. Because I've heard a lot of people, I work with a lot of people. You work at a hospital.
But look what I've just gone through. I just dropped 65 pounns.
You did.
that's amazing.
So,
Wow.
and I'm going to start working out with him, which means I'm going to be
Oh,
going
you
to
are?
Supreme Nutrition, because you need to get me in shape. But no, it is. And I can tell you just my day-to-day activities, I'm doing so much better.
And here's a question
mentally
too.
because I'm feeling better.
How many people, because you were EMS before, right? How many high-level leaders were you resuscitating or helping, on the, not on death's door, but they were in a really bad shape?
All the
Not
time.
from an accident or anything, just from unhealthy lifestyle.
All the time. I can tell you, from dentists to physicians to professors to, I've picked these people up, having massive heart attacks or cardiac arrest or strokes, and you look at them, and they're not healthy.
Right.
Not only are they not healthy physically, but they're not healthy mentally. I could tell you that there's been professors, and there was a dentist that I actually went that was in cardiac arrest. He was a hoarder. His house was just full with stuff.
Yeah.
And he's a professor at Duquesne University. This guy was a big known guy. And you sit there and you think about that correlation, right?
Yeah. How can you be so successful here, but have let yourself go so badly?
Right. So it's just not the physical aspect. It's also the mental aspect.
Yeah.
And I think
my
it
favorite
goes
part you touched on.
Yeah,
the mental
it's hand in
aspect.
hand.
Yeah.
And that's where I'm more with it.
And that's
You know
why
what I mean?
that's why I love and why I wanted you to have. Sure, cool. You won a couple championships, great, right? But your philosophy.
Wait. He won 2 championships?
2 at Clemson.
Clemson. Okay.
Clemson.
Just make sure we said that again.
Yeah.
We want to make him feel uncomfortable, guys.
But the stance that you have and you believe in your company, right? Your shirt says it. It's not just supplements, it's personalized plans. It's helping people out to get results, right? And it's helping people marry the two. Because I think, I bet you, and I haven't done it yet, and that's my fault, so I'm going to get my body scan and I'm going to get my free meal plan. Just because I need to vet mine that I have right now, and I'm probably wrong on mine.
I'm pretty sure he's going to charge you, though.
I probably will. No friend
Small
discount.
fee.
So little fee. But the cool thing is, I know in those conversations you have, you're trying to get them to the healthiest they can be, because you understand it's not. Yeah, sure, it will help you with the sale, but if they could, honestly, if they could stay alive longer, you're going to have a better customer, because they're going to want to keep coming back. But if we're just getting the surface results, who knows if they're going to be around if this unhealthy lifestyle keeps up and they keep doing this up and down, right? And we've seen a lot of people who've done that. And so question for you, though, is what do you want to see as a result of Supreme Nutrition? What is when you're lying in bed at home and you're just, man, I would love to see this as an outcome of me being a part of Supreme Nutrition, maybe in your own life and the world around you, what would that look like? Let me kick you.
Looking at it, it's kind of starting to happen already. Cool. So like one thing is that I love in that it's kind of like my driving force of why I continue to do it every day. And it's obviously people seeing results, losing weight, gaining muscle, whatever their results are. Obviously we want to see that, but it's being able to go out. One thing that is unique about us is like we go out, we're working out like in the gyms with everyone. We go to OSC and work out, and it's like, we do that. We practice what we preach. We are active. But one of my favorite things is, I can pretty much go into most gyms in the area, and it's like it's almost like a whole new community. It's like, I walk in and it's so many people that I know that I can talk to that are coming up, and like, we're like dapping up, we're talking, and it's more than just being in the store, and it's like a lot of other supplement companies, it's like the only time you see those people are in the store, right? Yeah. And it's like, it's really just building that whole community mindset. Sure. And I want it to be a community mindset more of, oh yeah, they're just a supplement store. It's, no, like we're here to help. And so it's, for everything from being able to just be out in the community and seeing people in the gyms that we know, and just hanging out, working out with friends that we've met at the store. I have tons of friends that I've met that came in as customers, and like we still hang out with to this day. And that's kind of like my vision is like, I don't want it to just be like, oh yeah, they're just a successful supplement store. It's like, no, we're meshed with the community. Right. We're
that's great.
Basically intertwined.
And that's going to lead to some major success, because I think especially in the upstate here in South Carolina, it's very much like that. Yeah. I'm a part of several things, Joel is as well, that you're able to have those relationships and build that community. But I think what's most important about that I'm hearing that I think is impressive is you're really, yes, there's a business model, right? Yeah. There's a business model. You need to make money to live, right? Yeah. There is that piece.
Everyone does, yeah.
However, that's not your priority. You're actually making impact in people's lives, which is so important. Then you're not looking at it just from a one-on-one basis. You're trying to make an impact in the community, which is so important. Yeah. So, and I applaud you for that.
Yeah. And that's like the Athletes Fest that we just did.
You want to talk about that real quick? I'd love for you to talk about that.
Yeah, 100%. And that's you're gonna have to be there next year.
Absolutely. Hopefully, I will.
You could be a vendor. The hospital could be a vendor.
I need it so I can kind of look like him a little bit.
Yeah. There are some very fit people.
At one point, I used to be. Now I'm old and fat, so there's that. Yeah. But he's gonna get me back there.
We got you. We got you. Yeah, me and Joel got this. We'll get you done.
Good.
But no, I mean, you definitely got to come out next year. So the Athletes Fest is something that we created, and it's. Again, it was one of those things that we are a very big community mindset. Yeah. And it's kind of funny. I say that if you come into our store, we have our core values on the wall. So you can actually see what our core values are as a company. And the third one is community mindset. So it's kind of cool to see. But, the Athletes Fest was something that we started to pretty much bring the entire community together as best as we could. And, we pretty much went out to every single gym, invited every single gym to be a part of it. I should have worn the shirt, but you can see there's like a list of gyms and companies that were a part of it. But basically what it is, it's an entire charity event. And all the proceeds go to the Shriners Children's Hospital. Okay. And it's the local one here in Greenville.
Yeah, I know the CEO real well.
Yeah.
They do a good job up there.
Yeah. So, and you can see on our Instagram, we just delivered the check, personally to them. But it's awesome. So we wanted to put on an event that every single gym, no matter what type of training it is, everyone can be involved in. So we actually, in one day, we had a 5K, a powerlifting competition, and a CrossFit competition all in one day. Wow. So it's a lot going on.
Yeah.
And
it was a lot going on. I was emceeing. It was a lot going on. But I love not to cut you off. I love that the community aspect too is. I mean, if you're not into fitness, that's fine. There's no shaming. But the communities of runners, powerlifters, and CrossFitters could not be more different and disparate. Right? There's just they don't, no pun intended, run together typically. Right? And so the fact that you have all of them there, and it's just cool. I mean, I want you to keep going, but the fact that you had people just jump into the CrossFit competition because you can, right? It was just like, hey, you did the powerlifting, you want to do the CrossFit competition? Like, I guess so. I've never done CrossFit. And I'm like trying to judge someone who's never done a clean and jerk. Like, all right, well, let's see how this goes. But it was so cool that you did that. Keep going.
It's amazing. Just like, I didn't know how it was going to mesh either. I'm
Yeah.
like, oh man, we might need a barrier between the powerlifters, CrossFitters. I don't know how they're
Those
going to
CrossFitters
handle
over
each
there.
other. Yeah.
Powerlifters.
But no, it was an amazing event because like at one point, we have a powerlifting competition and a CrossFit competition like almost going on at the same time in the
really
same
neat.
gym,
Yep.
like 20 feet from each other.
That's cool.
I'd never put on an event like that, and to see the first year that we did it, we had no idea what to expect, and to see the turnout for the first year was just
Fantastic.
insane. And I think it kind of showed like exactly what my vision was, like a community mindset impacting the community, to see how many people like were involved and showed up. And this year, I think it was even bigger.
Oh, yeah.
We over doubled our money raised
Wow.
from it. And it's just, it's insane. But like you're saying, like the people that come out have never done a competition before. Big shout out, Jacob Dismukes. He's gone on a big transformation. He just lost, I think he just hit the 100-pound mark that he
Was
lost.
he the one in the news?
I'm not sure.
Locally? Okay, I just saw something
Don't ask
locally.
me. I don't. Yeah.
Okay.
I don't-
Well,
Never mind.
he's
Was it
There's
good
somebody-
or bad in the news?
No, it's good. They did a whole story on this guy locally that's just dropped like 100 pounds.
Oh,
and
that's
has this
amazing.
journey. So maybe that's
Okay.
I mean, he did just
Yeah.
drop 100 pounds,
Okay.
and he's he had never
That's
done
impressive.
CrossFit or anything.
Was he the guy with the blonde
Hopped
hair?
in the CrossFit.
The blonde hair, sleeveless, sweatband.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Big
Because
guy.
last year
he's
he was
big,
not that. Yeah.
He's strong.
He ran the 5K too, right?
did the 5K.
Wow.
good for
Yeah.
him.
And our 5K is a little different. Our
Which
5
is interesting. He has a powerlifting background.
Right.
And he comes to the event, does 5K and CrossFit, didn't do the powerlifting.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Our 5K is a lot of hills too, because where we're at. So I always feel bad for those people. Keep going.
Yeah. I tell people it's not a bad course, but yeah, it's pretty brutal.
It's like 8 hills. They're very steep.
Yeah,
We'll
it's
cut
not
that
the
part out
easiest
so no
one.
one hears that.
But no, yeah, I mean, he hopped in the CrossFit. I asked him if he wanted to try it, and he was pretty much just like, it's like for charity. He's like, yeah, I'll do it for the cause and everything. And that's awesome to see people do that. So it's such a fun event. We have vendors, food trucks out there, people giving out like free stuff and everything. And yeah, like I said, we over doubled our money raised this year from last year.
Yeah. That's
and
amazing.
it's a lot of fun.
Good for you.
Yeah, so you're going to be there next year.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Definitely
And-
will.
you
And
do
the
that.
cool thing
I'll bring
too,
American Heart Association as well.
There we go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
some people might.
I mean,
need
I
some
know I'm
medical
probably going to
attention.
MC it again. I'll probably MC again, but I think it'd be fun if you and I just did every event together. If we did the 5K together, if we did the powerlifting competition together.
Yeah,
I'm
but
terrible at powerlifting.
Joel, this is like going to ruin our friendship because
You're going to beat me.
to embarrass you in front
I
of
know.
all
No,
those
I know.
people.
I
I mean,
mean,
You know what? It's totally fine. I'm okay losing to a 2-time champion. I'm totally fine with that. But what's something I don't think a lot of people understand too,
I like
is
this guy.
because we're kind of unpacking a world that you don't always see, right? Because we've talked about leadership and development, but the world of fitness and health is very interesting because you do have a lot of siloed individuals and groups, right? So you have these groups like CrossFitters, CrossFit gyms. We'll put on our own competitions like we did. We put on a thing called Barbell Rodeo. And it's typically you make money to the gym, you buy some stuff, all that kind of thing. And it is more of a, hey, come to our gym. This was fun, cool. All right, dip, right? There's no communal aspect to it. Because most of the gyms, right, if we're going to be honest, CrossFit, those members that go to that gym, you need to have your members if you're going to keep your gym open, right? And so you do want to have as many members as possible. And there's always that, hey, who's got more members? What's that gym doing? There's more of competition often what happens. But I love what you did with your event, which was there's none of that, right? Like there's no money going to these people, or there's none of this aspect of it's all about you or your gym. It's more about what we're trying to do with this event, which is to grow the community, to grow more friendship. And the vibe was always so different, which I've loved. Like having done our competition, having been to different competitions, and then doing your event and being MC of your event, the vibe was so different, which was just so cool. It was just more of a, hey, let's just enjoy being together and let's do some fun things. Like let's do a 5K, let's lift, and then let's do CrossFit. And it showed. It really did. The end was so much sweeter, I feel like.
yeah, no, 100%. That's how I like tell people. I'm like, hey, like this is an opportunity. Like if if you've never done a powerlifting competition,
Yeah.
hop on in. It's very relaxed.
Yeah.
It's just a lot of fun. Everyone gathers around. We play music. It's a lot of fun. The CrossFit, same thing.
Yeah, there were a couple people
It's
who had
like-
never done a CrossFit competition.
Yeah.
I'm like, that is the best. That's like
Yeah.
doing instead of doing a,
Dismukes came in third.
Yeah.
And he's never done one before.
it's like
Yeah.
if you're trying to do a big race, just do like a 5K or even less, like a 3K,
Yeah.
something super
Yeah.
simple, and just say, hey, you've now got your feet wet.
Yeah.
So that was
yeah,
really
to get
cool.
an idea. Yeah.
You guys are so great.
It's
You're so great.
I mean, it is a lot of fun, but I do have to say it's not just us.
Yeah.
I mean, it's you and Rigo being so gracious to volunteer the gym.
Yeah.
Which is huge, and that's for us trying to raise as much money as we can. When we go to anyone to ask for help, it's we're looking for more donations because we're trying to raise as much money as we can.
Right,
You
yeah.
obviously, you try to keep expenses as low as you can.
Yeah,
sure.
And we're so grateful for Joel and Rigo being like, yeah, tell us what day use the gym, and they even come. I mean, they're not even paid, and they come and help out. Joel MC.
You did feed me. That helped.
I did feed. I bought
Hey,
you
listen,
food. Yeah.
that's way more important to Joel than money. You feed Joel,
Did you
you're
feed
good.
me? I remember. I don't know if I was texting you or Luke, and he was like, I said, is there going to be food? He said yes. I said, all right, good. I'll do it.
It was probably Luke, and then I got a text mid-competition like, hey, can you give me food?
I did. And then you came over to me and I said, hey, just making sure you got my order.
I didn't even say yes, and he immediately texted me his order. I was like, all right,
that's
I guess I'm
All right, we're
getting
making
it,
me
but-
continue though about the other things.
No, but yeah, I mean, it's a huge shout out to y'all for the facility, everything that they put into it. But big shout out, I mean, like Britt's brothers gym.
Yeah.
Ollie and them over there are incredible. They donated all the powerlifting equipment.
Which was so cool. Yeah.
So that's amazing because I know CrossFit it's completely different equipment that you
Yeah,
need.
we don't
so
have
it's like,
100-pound plates.
Yeah,
Sorry.
yeah. So I'm like, yeah. So Britt's allowing us to do that. Huge shout out. But you have everyone from Crunch that's having volunteers and
Yeah.
being so involved in it. Amy over at Crunch was a huge part of it. Volunteers. I had people participate. It was amazing. CrossFit Epoch and
Yeah.
CrossFit Clemson.
They were so cool.
CrossFit Pendleton, I believe it
Yeah,
is.
yeah.
All of them, they drove down. I mean, the owners drove down for the event and helped out, helped
That's pretty
judge,
cool.
helped do everything.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, it was insane. It was awesome to see how many people were reaching gyms in different cities,
Yep.
which is really cool to see. And not only that, but just like even from the vendor standpoint, we don't require a payment to be a vendor. Most
Right.
events you have to pay to be a vendor.
It's true.
We always tell them like, no, like the more vendors the merrier. Like it's gonna be a blog party. Like
Right.
Yeah.
y'all come out, like set up, do whatever you want, give out free stuff. We had a food truck that was local here in Berea. He came out.
That was cool.
Gave out a bunch of food. It was amazing.
It was
It was
very
great food. But yeah, any vendor that wanted to be a part of it, come out, hang out, talk to people, participate. I think we had a couple of vendors that might have encouraged, but had them participate in the events.
Which is great. I mean,
Yeah.
and that's the cool thing about it was, and I want to just kind of end on this, is what I've loved about getting to know you more, Ty, is that there isn't, other than the fact that we look like we could be brothers. See? Other than that, which is great, is the fact that you have this amicable...
Hopefully he agrees with you on that.
No,
by
he
the way.
does.
Okay, good.
It's a compliment. You have this amicable aura about you when it comes to just what you're doing, right? There's altruism. There is this understanding that you don't take yourself too seriously, but you take the mission and vision of what you're doing seriously. And so everything that you kind of talked about that was instilled in you, right? You get it done no matter what, but it's not at the cost of others, right? It's more at the cost of self. And I think not compromising yourself, but you have to sacrifice. And I've loved that your life that you've been living, you have been sacrificing. But in my perspective, it's been paying off in dividends. And I think it's one of the reasons, you are one of the reasons. And so I want to definitely encourage you. You're one of the main reasons why Supreme Nutrition has grown so much. It's because you have given so much of yourself to a company that's not even your own. And if this is something for leaders today, that's it,
Yes.
right? I get it. We've talked about personal branding. We've talked about owning your career. We've talked about, leading when you don't have a title, right? This is the person that I would look to and say, he believes in the vision of his company. He supports it. He puts it out in front of himself, not himself in front of the company. And because of it, he's been successful. I think too often we get hung up on in this new age of LinkedIn and influencing and everything. We need to be all in front. We need to make sure our brand is in front, that our name's in front so that people know who we are with networking and everything.
Right.
But I know that still to this day, one of the things that will always stand out to high-level leaders is how well do you fit within the vision and mission of the company,
Yes.
and how well do you embody it in a way that it's not fake. You believe in what you're doing, and you want your company to succeed because then you know you succeed too.
Correct.
And I think that says so much about you, and that's why I think you've been so great to have on the show, and
Yeah.
you've just been a wonderful guy to know.
Yeah.
Thank you. I really appreciate that. That's the most compliments I think I've gotten from Joel. So
Yeah.
Thanks a lot.
Again, if you
very thankful.
feed him
Very
more, he'll
thankful.
give you more
Yeah, it's good
compliments.
food.
So,
Yeah, it's good food.
real quick, if anybody wants to try to connect with you or learn more about the company, can you share with them how to do that?
Yeah, 100%. So best way to connect with us, obviously, is Instagram. I think everyone's on Instagram. It's at Supreme Nutrition Greenville. We also have Supreme Nutrition Clemson, Supreme Nutrition Athens. And I can't let everyone know we are growing right now. So expected probably in the next year, we're looking at maybe 3 more locations.
Wow.
Next
For
year,
you
so
guys. That's great.
growing fast. Spartanburg might be coming to you in the future. We'll see.
Hey.
We'll see.
Something good coming to Spartan.
Wow.
I'm kidding. You guys are great.
But yeah, and then you can also go on our website, supremenutritionusa.com. If you want to, I kind of touched on who we are, but on our website, there actually is a whole video that has me, Dave, and Luke, the 2 original founders, on there, doing a whole video of who we are,
Yeah.
kind of what to expect when you come to the store. So even if you want to know what it's like when you come into Supreme Nutrition, there's an entire video that lays out what to expect.
Yeah.
So those are 2 of our best.
Wonderful.
Awesome.
ways to contact
Well,
us.
Tyler, thank you so much
Yes.
for being on this
Keep
show.
up
Thank
the
you
great
guys
work,
so
man.
much for
Thank
having
you all
me.
for listening. Find us on YouTube. We have LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram. Like and subscribe.
Please.
So you stay up to date. Don't sound so desperate. So you stay up to date on all the things that we're doing. Thank
I'm
you so
being
much
polite.
again for listening. Have a wonderful day. See you guys.
See y'all.